What is up, everyone? Good morning. Come on in, settle in. We have football starting in 1 hour right now. We're going to be just hanging out for the next half an hour or so here. I'm going to go over your start sit questions. And I did pump in a lot of information into the chat already. So, welcome to Sunday. We're just going to hang out today for the next half hour or so and give you guys what you need. J.K. Dobbins was giving it a go pregame here, but it ends up he is officially inactive for this one. So, no J.K. Dobbins. That's going to make you guys probably look at Mike Davis, Kenyon Drake if you need to. But to me, it just means Lamar Jackson probably going to scoot around a little bit more through the ground. Michael Thomas is going to be in today. Logan Thomas also in today. I'm not recommending Logan Thomas as a start. I mean, unless you have an emergency situation, George Kittle's out or something like that. But I kind of want to see what Logan Thomas looks like. He might be a guy that we talk about on the waiver wire show for week 2 here. Jacoby Myers is going to play here. Drake London also going to play here. I don't love starting Drake London this week. I think he's an interesting guy. Kind of want to wait and see what I get from him. He's got a tough matchup against that Saints defense. Got Zach Ertz in today, so good for your tight end one options. Chris Godwin's going to play today, and I kind of mentioned here, I'm not sure about his snaps because you got Mike Evans, Russell Gage, Julio Jones, and Chris Godwin. I think he might be kind of fourth in terms of snaps here. So if you're feeling like you don't have a viable option behind him, you can hold out for Chris Godwin. I think he'll be, maybe 3-4 catches, but I'm not expecting a high ceiling day, so I kind of pivot when I'm getting Godwin questions. And then you got George Kittle here. He's definitely out. For the Packers, Alan Lazard is out, as well as both starting tackles, David Bakhtiari and Elgton Jenkins. So we'll see what the Packers can do with their new look wide receiver core. Shout out to Justin. Good morning to you, sir. We got Chase Edmonds or Rashad Penny, non-PPR question. That's a good one because, if it was PPR, it wouldn't even be close. And I remember now my guy Harris, he's always got the standard league question. So I'm just thinking around here. Chase Edmonds probably going to get the ball maybe 12 to 15 times, maybe 10, 12 carries, 3-4 catches. So I think the volume is pretty equal. I think both guys are going to get a ton of touches in this one. But I think for me, I'm kind of interested in that Dolphins offense. I think who's got the better chance to score a touchdown. It's very equal. So this one's kind of a coin flip. I'm going to side with Chase Edmonds. I think he's got a better chance to reach, 60, 70 total yards. And then I do think the Dolphins have probably maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns in them today, whereas the Seahawks are probably looking at, 1.5 for their over-under for touchdowns. So I'm going to side with Chase Edmonds, but I get it if you want to wait for Rashad Penny. I'm fine with that. So to me, slight edge, Chase Edmonds, but they're both kind of, in the same tier, very similar plays, about 60, 70 yards, and then the 50-50 shot for the touchdown. I have a chance now. Yeah, that one's interesting. Have you guys seen what's going on in Chicago? They have puddles of water on the field. Like right now, they have groundskeepers squeegeeing the field there in Chicago. So it does not look good. 49ers defense probably made one of the more popular plays in DFS this week. Who is George Kittle's backup? Let me look at that. I think they have I think it's going to be by committee. I want to say, I can't remember the backup tight end there. Charlie Warner and Tyler Croft. So it's going to be, I don't think you're looking at tight end for backup duties there. Russell Gage, George Pickens, AJ Green, start 2. I think I think you got to probably take that AJ Green. He's going to be the number 2 wide receiver, and they're probably going to be down here. So I have a good feeling about AJ Green today. I like him. And then it's kind of like, I'm excited about the George Pickens debut. If Deontay Johnson was not playing, I'd probably say Pickens, but I'm going to go AJ Green and Russell Gage here. With Russell Gage too, I think he's going to be busy. He's probably going to see 7-8 targets. With Pickens, he might only see, 3 or 4 or 5 targets, but he could get the big play. So to me, Pickens involves the greatest risk. I'm going to go with the floors of AJ Green and Russell Gage. Good morning to Dan. Thanks for hanging out with us today. It's always good to see new people in the chat. Got to pick 2. Superflex, half PPR. You got Geno Smith, Damien Harris, and Robert Woods. What do we think? So half PPR, that's going to make me think that Damien Harris is probably the strongest play. Robert Woods is interesting. I did see that across the Midwest, like Tennessee's kind of right on the end of the rain spectrum today. So I don't love what's going on there, I guess, in some of these games here. So I'm a little bit nervous about Robert Woods. I do think he's probably going to, be a 4 or 5 catch guy, maybe 50, 60 yards. So his floor is about 8 points. I'm probably going to go with Geno Smith and Damien Harris. It doesn't feel great, but any chance you can get an opportunity to start a quarterback, I think you got to do it. So I'm going to say Geno Smith and Damien Harris because of the half PPR. AJ Dillon and Marquis Brown, non PPR, down 21 points. So you need the big upside play here. I think the smash play is going to be it's going to be Marquis Brown for you. I'm a huge AJ Dillon guy, especially in standard format. I think that's going to be really sexy. He does have a good chance to score a touchdown, but man, I think there's a legit chance Marquise Brown, probably a top 5 wide receiver play, good chance at 90 to 100 yards, maybe even more. And if someone's going to catch a touchdown for the Cardinals, it's probably Marquise Brown. So I'm going to lean Marquise Brown, but both good options. You've got some good options in the queue today. No problem, Dan, and I appreciate you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm going to try to do this every Sunday going forward. It depends on my schedule or where I'm at, but 11 to me it's Central Time here in the Midwest, so I'm going to be 11 to 11:30. That's where I'll try to go live for you guys. And then I'm just kind of perusing Twitter here to make sure we got any other inactives or things going on here. But I think for the most part, we got all of our questions answered this morning. Interesting, a couple guys that are inactive today, the rookie running backs, Tyler Algier and Tyrion Davis-Price, both inactive today, healthy scratches. So I don't know if we need to carry them in redraft leagues. Those guys are likely only going to be useful if they get called up or if there's an injury ahead of them. And yeah, I think I'm going to probably say it's Tom Brady's last year. In next year, we're probably going to be very nervous if he goes out and plays, being at 46. Johnson or Robert Woods, full PPR. I'm assuming that's Deontay Johnson. I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson. I know there's a little bit of I think for the most part, it looks like there's going to be rain maybe at the beginning of the game in Cincinnati, but you also have to imagine Pittsburgh probably going to be trailing in that game. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 35, 40 passing attempts for Mitch Trubisky in this one. So Deontay Johnson, I'm going to go with the volume there. And again, the other thing about it's week 1. I'm very nervous about players coming back from injury. Robert Woods, I'd like to see what he looks like before we buy him. I do think, again, the rain in Tennessee, you're probably going to see 25, 30 touches for Derrick Henry. So he could be in for a big game. So I kind of want to lean with Deontay Johnson. That's just kind of where the points are flowing, I think, for the Steelers through the air today. I'm looking around for some other possible inactives or scratches here. Terry or Judy? That's a good one, Justin. I think in PPR leagues, you're going to want to side with Terry McLaurin. I think the Jags defense is a little bit better than people give them credit for. But with Judy, he's in a game where I don't think the Seahawks are going to I don't think the Broncos are going to have to rely heavily on the passing volume. Whereas I think Terry, you lock in that safe floor. You probably drafted Terry over Judy anyway. So I'm going to lean with Terry McLaurin here. Damien Harris or Breece Hall. I'm going Damien Harris here. I just, again, most of my answers for week 1 have been, I need to feel really good about the player or have to feel really good about the situation. And with the New York Jets running backs, I mean, they listed Michael Carter as the starter. So that already makes me a little bit nervous here. I do think Breece Hall is probably going to get the ball 10 to 12 times, maybe 8 to 10 carries and a couple catches, if not. But I think Damien Harris is probably the guy that you want with the floor. He's probably going to get upwards of 12 to 15 touches in this one. And it sounds like they're going to actually throw the ball more to Damien and Stevenson. So I think I'm going to lean with Damien Harris in this one. Good morning, Connie here. Ayuk, Pollard, Julio, or Jarvis at flex. So the rain makes me nervous. I'm not sure if it's going to stop in Chicago anytime soon. Let me actually look at that Chicago weather. And we also have, the anticipation of how many times is Trey Lance going to throw the ball? What's that going to look like? We're just really not sure. I'm looking here at the hourly weather for Chicago right now. It looks like it's going to lighten up. They had thunderstorms all morning, but at noon here, it's supposed to slowly fade. But then the wind's going to pick up here. So, to me, there's weather issues. There's Trey Lance issues. I'm a little bit nervous about Ayuk. I love Ayuk, but I'm a little bit nervous there. With Tony Pollard, I'm excited about Tony Pollard. I kind of want to see what we are getting from a split perspective before we recommend starting him. And also the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense, still one of the best in the league. So I'm a little bit nervous about Pollard. I think you're looking at Julio or Jarvis Landry here. And the case for both, they're both, trusted veterans. I think you're getting these guys at a good time of the year. It's first game of the year. They're healthy. This is the healthiest they're going to be all season. So for me, I'm kind of interested in Jarvis Landry, especially if this is PPR league. I think he's the safer floor. But man, if you wanted to take a shot and get a guy that can get a touchdown, it's probably Julio. So I'm looking at Jarvis. If you want the safe floor, maybe, to collect your 10, 12 points, I think he's going to get 4 or 5 catches. It's his first time playing with the Saints. That's going to be exciting for him. And then who knows with Michael Thomas's health as well. So I'm thinking Jarvis for the safe floor, and Julio close second. Do I drop Rashad Bateman for Adam Thielen in a full PPR? I'm not. No, you got to keep Rashad Bateman. Adam Thielen's nice, but he's also on the wrong side of 30. He's probably going to be productive when he's healthy, but it's to me, you want to hold on to the second-year breakout receiver potential in Rashad Bateman. So I'm keeping Rashad Bateman here. They're very similar in terms of their ceiling and their output. I think Bateman's the clear number 2 target for the Ravens. Thielen the number 2 target for the Vikings, but I'm going to stick with the youth and the upside. Maybe short term, Thielen looks good, but I think long term, Bateman's probably going to beat him out and have himself a pretty nice season. So I'll go Bateman for sure there. And let's just refresh the Twitter machine here. But yeah, fire up your questions. Don't be shy. We'll go live for another 20 minutes or so. See what you guys can drum up here. I'm just looking at the Chicago Bears field, and it is sloppy, guys. It is sloppy. Let me look around here for some other things. It's still pouring rain pretty good there, but the 49ers seem to be having fun with it. Games I'm excited about today. I'm excited about the afternoon slate. I think I'm just pulling up the betting lines here, see if any of the lines have shifted. Kirk Cousins or Kyler Murray. You got to stick with Kyler Murray in this one. I think Kirk Cousins could have himself a really nice day, but you're not getting any rushing upside from Kyler Murray. So to me, the Cardinals are favored to lose by a touchdown. They're going to have to rely on Kyler Murray deep into the fourth quarter here. So I think Murray's the guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kirk has a good game. But Packers defense, people are kind of excited about the Packers defense. So that could be tough. I know it's a home opener for Minnesota, but I think you got to roll with Kyler Murray and get those, potential 40, 50 yards in the rushing touchdown. Maybe a Samuel game. Debo's in. Yeah, the Packer line moved to it flipped. The Vikings are now favored to win by 2.5. Looks like the line didn't change. It's about 46.5, but that's the Alan Lazard, that's the David Bakhtiari, Elgton Jenkins effect. So the Packers were favored to win by about 1 point pretty much all week, and then this morning it flipped. So people are leaning into the Vikings here. Still not going to be a super high scoring game. I think probably like a 24-20 type of game in Minnesota here. So maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns for each team. But the games that I'm excited, my game of the day is probably Raiders Chargers. They got the Chargers by 3.5 in their home opener, 52.5 over under for that one. You want to make sure if you're setting any DraftKings lineups, I think a lot of people are going to be in on that Chiefs Cardinals game, but I've been setting up a ton of Raiders Chargers games. Good morning to Matt Bain. We made it, dude. He's got a good question here. Russell Gage, Kenny Galladay, or AJ Green for last spot? PPR. I'm not using Kenny Galladay. That one with Kenny Galladay, that's I need to see it before I believe it thing. So I'm comfortable with Galladay going off of my bench because I don't want to risk a 2 for 20 line from Galladay. We just don't really know what we're getting from him. Now, we did have a Russell Gage question earlier. I'm excited about Russell Gage. I think he does have potential for 4 or 5 catches tonight. But when you get an AJ Green to kind of fall to you, I think again we talked about we had a Kyler Murray question earlier. The Cardinals are going to have to throw the ball. They're going to have to play keep up. I think, and again, I haven't dug into the history of it, but I think there's something to be said where veteran receivers or veteran players early in the season, you're more comfortable starting them because that's the healthiest they're going to be all year. I think I'm fine with AJ Green here. I think he does have the combination of the highest ceiling and the highest floor. So I think it's AJ Green for me. And then you get your ghost of AJ Green Bengals in your lineup for you. Marquis Brown or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Even if it's PPR or standard league, I'm going with Marquis Brown. I think from a yardage output, I can't see Clyde Edwards-Helaire racking up over 100 yards, but I can see Marquis Brown. So from a pure yardage standpoint, I think Marquis is the guy. He's probably going to be pummeled with targets. And I have a feeling Marquis Brown's probably one of the most popular plays on DraftKings FanDuel today. So I'm in on Marquis Brown at that point. It's a lot of Cardinals questions today. People a little bit nervous. I think James Conner's a great play. If you guys haven't built any lineups yet, I think James Conner's going to be in for heavy workload. They're going to want to try and keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline here and limit that offense, but we'll see what they can do. I'm looking around for any other major line changes today. It looks like the Titans and the Giants game tightened up a little bit. That game was about a 6 or 7 point favorite for the Titans. It tightened up to about 5. I think that's just the weather. You know, the 49ers, they dropped. Like they had a over under of 40.5 the other day. Now they're at 38 with the weather here, so people are kind of fading that game. It looks like the Bengals dropped as well, so less points expected in those games. But we're having fun today, guys. Let me know in the comments. You guys got any bold predictions for today? Any upsets happening? I think if I had to make one bold prediction today, I mean, I think it's going to be a heavy favorites day today. I mean, I got the Bengals winning. I got the Colts. I got the Ravens. I got the Niners. Give me the Eagles. I think the Browns are going to upset the Panthers. The Panthers have not been very good when they're favored at home under Matt Rule. I can see that Browns defense coming after Baker Mayfield. So I'm going to say Browns over Panthers. I'll go Saints over Falcons. I'm going to go Dolphins over Patriots. I guess this is the true first upset of the day. I'm going to go Jags over Washington Commanders. We'll take the Titans over the Giants. It's hard to pick the Packers Vikings game to me, but just being a Packer fan, I think the Vikings are going to do it, but it should be a tough game. Give me the Chargers over the Raiders. Give me the Chiefs over the Cards. And Tampa Bay over Dallas. Broncos over Seahawks. Yeah, it's nasty. I'm in Milwaukee, and I woke up and it was just pouring rain. You can't even take the dog outside. It's just pouring rain outside. But it seems to have lightened up, and that's what it sounds like in Chicago. I just pulled up the hourly. They had thunderstorms all morning. It looks like it's going to be light rain by about 1:30. So potential for a little bit better, but the wind is going to pick up throughout the day in Chicago. Keenan Allen, Jalen Waddle, Adam Thielen, pick one, non-PPR. Okay, that's a tough one. Those are some those are all startable players for sure. And if you're looking at who's got the best chance for a touchdown, that's probably Adam Thielen. I think Adam Thielen's probably a nice wide receiver 2 option for you. Waddle, I think Waddle's probably the third option for me in this one because he's more of a pure PPR play. We like his volume. I do like Keenan Allen's volume as well, and I do think he's probably got the safest floor and probably pretty good odds at a touchdown today against the Raiders. I don't really trust the Raiders secondary, so to me, I'm going to rank them: Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen, Waddle. So I'm going to lean into Adam, or I'm going to lean into Keenan Allen. And then another thing that I like to look at is sometimes when I'm making these decisions, Harris, I'll go ahead and it's on the fantasyfellowship.com in the week one. I have all of the I have a chart showing how many projected points each team is supposed to score based on their Vegas odds, and the Chargers are the team that's projected to score the most points. So I sometimes that's how I make my decisions. I'm going to go with the team that's going to score more points, have more opportunities to do some nice things. Irv Smith, Big Bob, or Hooper at the tight end. I saw Jesse in our league, Matt. Jesse in our league is going to be starting Austin Hooper today for George Kittle, so that one's interesting. I do think there's a chance Austin Hooper surprises us this year, just because of the lack of the receiving weapons for Tennessee. So I'm kind of into Hooper. I do like Robert Tonyan today because of no Allen Lazard. He's been healthy. He's good to go. There's no questions with that. So I think I'm going to rank them Tonyan, Irv, Hooper. So that's how we'll ride those ones. Where would you put Elliott into the order? Ezekiel Elliott into the non-PPR, Keenan Allen, Jalen Waddle, Adam Thielen order. It's a tough matchup for Ezekiel Elliott on paper. I think, let me pull up my numbers from last year. I have my 2021 fantasy points allowed. I believe Tampa Bay was like the best against the running backs last year. Let me just double check that. Actually, they did allow a little bit here, but they only allowed 7 rushing touchdowns all year. If they do get close, maybe he gets the touchdown here, but I think you're probably looking at a low yardage day, maybe 50, 60 total yards for Ezekiel Elliott, and then maybe a less than 50% chance at a touchdown. So to me, I think you take the high yardage of a Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen's going to eat today. And again, I tend to trust veteran receivers week one. So I'm going to rank Keenan Allen first, Thielen, and then maybe Zeke, then Waddle. Waddle could have himself a nice day, but again, he's more of a PPR play, so I think that's where I'll stand with that. Let me hit the refresh on Twitter here. If you guys got any more questions, we'll go for another 5 or 10 minutes here, and then I'm gonna be setting up some of my lineups. But man, if you go to Twitter and just look at some of this 49ers Chicago Bears stuff, it is. I mean, it's like a flood on the field is just soaked. It is literally a flood on the field. That was about an hour ago, and I think they've been squeegeeing the field to get it prepped. So it's very interesting. But let me know any bold predictions in the comments today. Any, I guess, for sleepers. As far as sleepers, I think Matt Boehm had a good one here. Robert Tunyon could see himself with a nice busy day. I wouldn't be surprised for 4 or 5 catches, maybe 60 yards and a touchdown, something like that. I think he's a very nice sleeper. I think David Njoku, a really good sleeper at tight end. Another like ultimate sleeper at tight end is going to be the New York Jets, Tyler Conklin. I actually whipped up Tyler Conklin in a couple DFS lineups. I think he's the clear kind of the number 2, number 3 target in that offense for Flacco today. Damien Harris or Ezekiel Elliott. Whew, that one's tough. That one's tough because I mean I like Damien Harris in non PPR formats, but I think in this one I'm going to side with Ezekiel Elliott. He should get more touches. Probably has a equal chance to score, so I'm going to go Ezekiel Elliott over Damien Harris in that one. What was I going to pull up? I was just going to pull something up here. As far as dark horses today, let's. I'm going to filter by PPR here. Um, any wild predictions today? I think I'm going to go with. I think one of JD McKissick or Naheem Hines is very valuable in DraftKings formats today as a PPR play, as a running back too. I like both those guys to be busy today. Melvin Gordon, probably going to be a top 20, top 24 running back. I think I would break ties. I mean, honestly, like if it came to Harris and Ezekiel Elliott, I think Melvin Gordon's right up there with some of those guys here. So he's an interesting guy. When it comes to Dameon Pierce versus Damien Harris, that's another great question. This one's really close. I think I'm going to go with Dameon Pierce just because we know he doesn't have any competition for carries, and we know that if they were to get like inside the 5-yard line, they're going to give Dameon Pierce the ball probably 2 or 3 times. So I'm going to slide to Dameon Pierce in that equation. So I guess we're going to rank them Zeke, Pierce, Damien Harris if you need help on that. One thing I'm nervous about today is the Raiders running backs. We're going to be watching those guys. You got Josh Jacobs, Amir Abdullah, Zamir White, and Brandon Bolden. I honestly, I think you can start Josh Jacobs. The Chargers were pretty generous against the running backs last year. They were they gave up the second most or the third most rushing yards to the running back last year. So it is a good matchup on paper for Josh Jacobs. But again, I'm just a little bit nervous about how do they divvy up those carries. I think Jacobs is fine in a standard, a touchdown league. I don't mind him in that one. But I'm seeing a few more people come in. If you guys got questions, fire them up. We'll go live for another 5 or 7 minutes here. That way I give myself a half an hour to set my lineups and just double check everything. But I'm just kind of going over some sleepers today and just kind of covering some situations here. At the wide receiver position, I think Elijah Moore is going to have himself a pretty busy day. You got to expect the Ravens to put up points in a hurry. And you could see Joe Flacco throw the ball maybe 35, 40 times. And he showed last year, Joe Flacco's one game with the Jets, he loved Elijah Moore. So I think Elijah Moore is going to be a very, very fun play today if you want to get him in DraftKings or just get him in your lineup for some fun points. Would you start David Montgomery or Elijah Mitchell over Antonio Gibson in half PPR? I don't think so. So Montgomery's got a few things going against him. One, it's the offensive line, and two, it's the field conditions today. It just looks like there's going to be no traction. Like they're literally playing on like an ice skating rink. It looks like it's just a flooded field. I don't trust the field, and I don't trust the offensive line. So Elijah Mitchell is interesting too because he's playing on the same field. I expect the 49ers to do well today. But I think Antonio Gibson might be your best play. He's going to probably lead the team in carries, maybe 15 total touches on the ground, maybe a catch or two. And they don't really have a goal line back. I don't think JD McKissick is the goal line back. So I think in terms of volume plus weather today, I'm going to side with Antonio Gibson. Tyler Boyd or Christian Watson. Whew, that's a tough one. Because it is week one, I think you're taking a tremendous risk throwing Christian Watson out there, but I do think he's got a pretty nice ceiling. Like it's not going to surprise me if he goes, 3 for 80 and a touchdown, something like that. But what's the floor for a guy like him? 2 for 15. Maybe not even a catch or two. And we just don't know what the pecking order is for targets. We don't know how many times the Green Bay is going to throw the ball. I think I'm going to err on the side of caution for Christian Watson. I'm super excited to see him play today. But I mean, you got Sammy Watkins, Randall Cobb. I would expect those two guys to get the most snaps at the wide receiver position. Then you're going to see probably Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson mixed in as a 3 and 4, maybe a little bit of Amari Rodgers in there. So I'm a little bit nervous about Watson. Whereas with Tyler Boyd, it's not a super sexy play, but just collecting those 8 to 10 points from Tyler Boyd seems to be the safest play. So I guess I'm going to paint it that way. If you want to take a risk, go with Watson. He does have better touchdown upside, I think, in this one. Tyler Boyd, though, going to get you your 8 to 12 points in a PPR format. And I think Boyd played well against. Let me double check that. I thought Tyler Boyd played well against the Steelers last year, and because the Steelers have a great pass rush, right? So it kind of makes sense for them to get the ball out quickly. So Tyler Boyd last year against Pittsburgh, he did have a game where he went 2 for 13, but he did have another game where he went 4 for 36 and a touchdown. So it's hit or miss both ways, but I think I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd. Gibson, Dillon, or Saquon Barkley half PPR. I think you got to trust your draft process here and go with Saquon Barkley in this one. I think I'm going to rank them Barkley, Dillon, Gibson in a half PPR. And yeah, man, Christian Watson, this is a big opportunity for him because one, he didn't get any meaningful preseason snaps. So he's kind of an unknown dart. It's really fun. I hope they send him deep a lot. I hope they try and scheme him some plays to get him, involved early. And the dude's a really good run blocker. So I actually think he might be on the field more than Romeo Doubs. Maybe Dobbs goes in there in obvious passing situations, but you might see Christian Watson out there more on first and second down while the Packers are trying to run the ball. So maybe we're talking ourselves into Christian Watson today. I'm not sure where the I guess the main projections and stuff are, but if you want to go for the ceiling, man, I think Christian Watson could be the guy. Aaron Rodgers has talked up some good things about him, and Matt, if you haven't, you got to go to Twitter or go, Google, whatever. Type in Aaron Rodgers, Barstool Sports. He had an interview today with Caleb Presley, and it was gold. It was funny. It's about 6 minutes or so. I might even send it your way. I'll tweet it to you, or I'll post it in the Messenger app. But super funny, super funny. But I got 2 more minutes left for you guys. If you guys got any more questions, please file them in there. If you guys are new to the Fantasy Fellowship, definitely subscribe, like the video. It helps people let this know this was a helpful video for you guys. And I'm just excited, man. I think it's going to be a fun day of football. It sucks that the weather is kind of dipping into things a little bit, but I do have some good feelings for today. If you guys are new to the Fellowship, let me actually I'm going to actually do a screen share here now. Let me pop this up for you guys. If you're new to the Fellowship, I do have my start-sit charts available here. If you guys want to make some player prop bets, my friend Jesse and I, we went through here and listed some of our favorite props for the day. Here's that chart I was talking about as well, where you can see the projected team totals for every team. Lower scores down here, higher scores are in the top. And then these are our player prop bets for the day. We're gonna take a Joe Mixon touchdown, AJ Brown, Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, Mike Williams. There's Adam Thielen touchdown. So if Harris, if you want to throw Adam Thielen in your lineup, there he is. We'll take a Mike Evans touchdown tonight. If you guys like parlays, we whipped up this like pretty realistic parlay to hit here. You're going to take the money line of Cincinnati, Baltimore, the Colts, the Chiefs, and the Broncos all to win, and you get plus 343. So that's almost like, tripling, 3.4xing your money, which is not bad. So essentially you bet $10, you're going to win 34. And then the heavy touchdown parlay of the day. But we got a ton of bets on there for you guys. If not, I'm gonna get out of here for the day. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. This was fun. I'm gonna continue to do this on Sunday mornings. We'll get some live shares, Saturday, Sunday going for you guys. But this is it. We made it to week 1. Thank you guys so much for your time. Good luck and enjoy the football. Peace.